Only treetops and rooftops were visible in this Bismarck, North Dakota neighborhood after a series of heavy rains caused the Missouri River to overflow. Thousands of people have been forced to evacuate.
In these unpredictable times, you can never be too prepared. Mentally, physically, financially, agriculturally. Real people, real problems, real activism. Welcome to the Bob Tuskin Radio Show with your host, Bob Tuskin.
The news we've been covering, by the way, we came awfully close to getting hit by an asteroid.
All right, folks, welcome back to the Bob Tuskin Show. It's hour number 2 of the program, and per usual, we have Scott from the Believers Underground with us. It's Friday, and it's time to kick back and talk with Scott about Earth changes and so much more. Scott, as always, it's great to have you, buddy. Hey, Scott, I've decided I'm moving to the Ozarks, and I'm going to go live in a cave with a bunch of folks that believe that Elenin's coming and that we're all going to die. And I wanted to get your take on this. Of course, I'm joking, but give me your thoughts, because there's been some buzz on this from some of the listeners of the show, and I just want to come off right from the gate and ask you about it. There's a gentleman, I believe his name's Terrell. What are your thoughts on this group?
Well, what do you want me to say? There's been survivalists out there forever, that disconnect themselves from society and, go do those kind of things.
But are you familiar with this group specifically, this Terrell something or another, who's talking about Elenin and the black dwarf coming, or the brown dwarf, or whatever it may be? I'm sorry, I'm not up on all the ins and outs of this, but are you familiar with this particular group by chance?
Yeah, I am. I'm familiar with them. A lot of these people really think that Elenin is going to cause a lot of destruction come, I think, September, third week in September, somewhere thereabouts. And, what can you do? People are going to be people. Live and let live. That's the route and direction they want to go. What can I... they're happy to do so. With me, okay, you already have a problem right here on Earth with post-glacial rebound effect. And I was talking about a new effect, and I even had to give it a new phrase because there was no name for it. And I uploaded that video the other day, and I called it continental bowing effect. And looking at Yellowstone and all the calderas running down there, it's Boeing. But anyhow, they're running to the Ozarks. That's Arkansas, and they've already had like 1,400 earthquakes over there. You got the Alabama River system. You got Arkansas 1 and 2 nuclear power plant, and I'm projecting an earthquake to hit just below. From the numbers and pressure and weight, and I've walked the grids. I've been across 18 states, and I walked that grid in Wichita, Kansas. I see it with this continental bowing that place is going to get hit with an 8.1 earthquake. Now, if that happens, man, it's going to vacuum affect that laking system, and they're going to be sitting ground central on 2 nuclear power plant meltdowns. So, I mean, what do you want me to say, man?
So, for those folks moving out there, maybe they should consider some of the things you said, huh?
Yeah, well, at least take some iodine pills with you.
Yeah, geez. Yeah, let's talk about that when we come back in just a moment. I want to start off with a very serious story, and another Fukushima perhaps right in our backyard. Scott from the Believers Underground is with us for the full hour. Call us up if you like, if you have any questions or comments from Scott. Always happy to hear from the listeners. If you would like to ask him about your location, call us up, 866-841-1065. This is the Bob Tuskin Show. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Scott from the Believers Underground joining us on the Bob Tuskin Show. Scott, so much to talk about, but let's start with this nuclear situation with Mississippi continuing to flood.
Yeah, let's do that. Oh man, it's terrible. You know, just imagine this, folks. Okay, and I'm gonna throw everyone's attention to Greenland because this is important for that Midwest. Okay, I'm going to talk about a gigaton. All right, the latest reports that are coming out that the ice melting just off Greenland between the years 2003 to 2007, okay, was 171 gigatons a year. Okay, how much weight is that? Okay, a gigaton is 1 billion tons, or 2 trillion pounds worth of weight coming off that area. So on a yearly basis for those years, it was losing 342 trillion pounds of weight, which is 342 with 12 zeros. Okay, that's a lot of weight, and we're not even talking other areas of the planet where it's just melting like crazy. And Greenland's rebounding up out of the ocean. You take that weight off, it lifts it up. We're talking, and now in 2010's numbers, it's a complete and total runaway. This is not good. You know, when we got that much water, you know, that's why NASA released that report that we're going to have over a foot of water going into the ocean, which is the equivalent of filling every inch of land on the planet over 2 feet high with water.
Wow. And we saw that memo that was sent to NASA employees and their families about getting prepared.
Yeah.
And that was quite the sign of, getting the word out. They know something's happening.
Well, I know something's happening. You know, we had another 7.0 greater earthquake this week, you know, off the coast of Alaska by Fox Island, you know. So now I'm 11 for 11.
Yeah, you've been predicting all of these major earthquakes. And with all these nuclear facilities, this is a very dangerous situation.
You betcha it is. We got a problem. You know, with this new report, they said that 3/4 of the nuclear power plants have been leaking tritium, you know, from their piping systems. You know, these piping systems were not set up for seismic creep, you know, or permafrost melting and refreezing, you know, or the Earth expanding. Because it is. It's 26 miles wide. Heck, I think it's more like 27 miles now. But, you know, this Earth is receiving this water. The ocean floor is sinking. It's messing up all these islands. All these islands are getting just leveled, you know, from New Zealand to Japan, you know, and they just had another 6.7 and 6.8 the other day. You know, and now they're getting earthquakes on the north side of it. So the ocean current's just chopping the footing out right underneath that place. You know, because you get all this water going into the ocean, and you got ocean currents. And when you have all this new massive weight and water going into these currents, it stalls them. And we're in a double El Nino. And when that happens, and you got a new evaporation rate of fresh water to salt water, that's why they shot up that satellite last week to measure the salt density, because that tells them how much weight is in that area. You know, you get super evaporation. You know, salt water freezes at below 28 degrees and fresh water at 32. So you get a new evaporation rate. You got the ocean current stalled in a double El Nino. So it's sending water in the same area over and over and over again, and it's causing droughts over and over and over again because they're going to the same locations over and over again because the ocean current's stalling from this water melting. That's why they got such a record mess over there right now. You know, I was just talking with Aaron of Barbarian Rebellion and Sonia of the Truther Girls with American Freedom Radio about an hour ago, and they said that, man, it's melting up there in Canada. You know, hardcore, and that water's going into the Dakotas. You know, this is a chain reaction, and we got this super huge dam over there in Montana. You know, it's 3 miles across, and it's a dam that they got rid of over here in California because they're unsafe.
Damn.
And when you get this much weight stuck in there, what happens is not only is it the weight of this water behind a dam, because what's going to happen is that water that's in that laking system is going to saturate the ground, and that ground is going to start sinking, and it's going to pull the footing right out from under that dam. We've seen that last year. And I've already walked all the dams over here in California, and I've walked the dams down there in Arizona. I've been walking these dams. The bulk of them are earthen dams. They're not set up for this new redistribution of water. They're just not. And you've got a whole series of earthen dams after that one dam, and you got it coming from two different directions. And not only do you have those two nuclear power plants that are already, the water's already at the door there. They put up a rubber barrier, a 9-foot high rubber barrier floating in the water, and even the Cooper plant had, release of tritium, so what people don't understand is, you see the water surrounding those whole facilities, and then they got this rubber buoy thing, like a tire sitting around it.
Wow.
That water is saturating the ground around that plant on all four sides. Okay, so this is not a good scenario.
It's a disaster.
Yeah, it is a disaster. They had to release water, and they flooded 4 towns just this week. We're talking towns, folks. We're talking homes and businesses, the works. And, just round them up with FEMA.
When I first heard that, Scott, I had to almost, do a double take and say, wait, did they just really report that they're evacuating entire towns? And granted, this is in New York City. But, geez, to think that the people are just getting up and going, and that they knew this, that they actually signed, from what I understand, when they bought the properties that they live in certain areas, that they would, in case of an emergency, be obligated to leave, and that they were taking a risk. I forgot what it was exactly that they did.
Floodplains.
Yeah, in the floodplains, exactly right. They knew they were taking a risk. So, anyways, we'll continue this talk with Scott from the Believers Underground for the entire hour. 866-841-1065. That's the number to join us. Get out your crayon and write that down if you have any questions for Scott on all this madness. 866-841-1065 is the place to call up and ask him any questions that you may have. This is the Bob Tuskin Show. I want to thank our sponsors, BitcoinExchange.cc, and everyone else out there that listens to the show and shares it on their Facebook or wherever they may put the program. Pal Talk, shout out to the Wake Up Project, and all the people out there interested in what's really going on and not the distractions and fear-mongering. This is the Bob Tuskin Show.